We're going to call the meeting for Akron City Council to order. Clerk will read the roll.
Freeman, Fusco, Hope, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amobian, Samples, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky.
For those who voluntarily wish to do so, will you please stand as we are led in prayer by Minister Gloria Terry from City of Joy. Immediately following our prayer, we're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance and going to ask if Mr. Councilman Kamer will be so kind to do that for us.
Father, we thank you for this time to come together before your holy presence in this place. Regarding the city of Akron, Lord God, we thank you for your word. Your word is a living word, and it says in the book of Proverbs, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding, for through wisdom your days will be many and years will be added to your life. If you are wise, your wisdom will reward you. If you are a mocker, you alone will suffer. We thank you for the wisdom that we can call upon, Lord, in this moment as this council meeting goes forth, Lord, that you will fill each participant and council member with your wisdom as they plan and plot, Lord, regarding the city of Akron, that it would be effective in all that it is, Lord God, and be a light on the hill to show forth your glory. We thank you for each person, Lord God, who cares for this city, that we can work effectively together, Lord God, to carry out the plans and to manage not only those plans, Lord, but to manage the budget effectively to show forth the love that we have together as a people in the city of Akron. So we thank you for each one who is here today. We thank you for what will be discussed, and we thank you for the wisdom that will come out of those discussions, that truly the city of Akron can be great. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Clerk will read the minutes from our previously held meeting.
Minutes from April 8th, 2019. Council convened in regular session at 7 p.m. with President Somerville in the chair. All members were present. Minutes of the previous regular meeting were approved. Vote 12-0. Neal abstained. Reading of petitions of communications. Passage of the consent agenda. Report of standing and special committees. Passage and referral of new ordinances and resolutions, representation from various departments and divisions, public speaking period, no further business on a motion by Fusco. Council adjourned at 8:20 p.m. to reconvene in regular session on April 15th, 2019, or special call.
Any corrections or additions?
Motion to approve.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and we have one abstention. Neal.
Okay. Okay.
Letters, petitions, and communications.
Petition of Wholesale Mattress Incorporated for a conditional use to establish retail sales at 601 East Exchange Street.
File.
Petition of the Akron Board of Education for a conditional use to construct the Kenmore Garfield Community Learning Center at 435 North Firestone Boulevard.
File.
Petition of T.H. Cleveland LLC for a conditional use to construct a Tim Hortons restaurant at the northwest corner of the intersection of George Washington Boulevard and East Waterloo Road.
File.
Petition of Swenson's for a conditional use to construct a parking lot on the west side of Corwin Avenue, south of East Cuyahoga Falls Avenue.
File.
This is public service. 2 objections to the Talmadge Avenue improvement per resolution 59, 2019.
File.
1 objection to the residential resurfacing program per resolution 64, 2019.
File.
2 objections to the West Market Street improvement per resolution 89, 2019.
File.
Return showing service of special notice of special assessments for Talmadge Avenue per resolution 59, 2019.
File.
Return showing service of notice of special assessments for the Roaming Road per Resolution 73, 2019.
File.
Return showing service of notice of special assessments for the Main Street per Resolution 58, 2019.
File.
Notice of a new D3A liquor permit to On the Hill Pub LLC at 353 East Cuyahoga Falls Avenue.
Special attention, Councilman Kilby.
Summary of income statements through the end of March 2019.
File.
Executive financial report, first quarter 2019.
File.
Anonymous correspondence concerning a machine purchase.
File. You have before you the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Freeman, Fusco, Hope, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amobian, Samples, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky.
We'll now move into our old business rules. Councilman Keith.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee would like time.
Time will be granted. Planning, Councilman Fusco.
Yes, thank you. The report on item number 1 is adverse, and we request suspension of the rules.
Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, thank you, President Somerville. This particular location, this conditional use request, is deemed to be not consistent with the Land Use and Development Guide Plan, and is deemed not to be consistent with the zoning code. The planning staff has recommended disapproval on this particular item. I know the ward council representative is also against this particular conditional use request. So based on that, we're recommending favorable on an adverse report.
Thank you. Councilman, did you have any further comments?
Madam Chair, I just want to say thank you again to the administration, especially to Mr. Antonucci and the mayor who drove by the spot. The tire spot that's there is not conducive to what we want in the neighborhood. Matter of fact, when they first moved there, we had some problems with tires being dumped in the neighborhood. And so I'm thankful for the adverse report and ask that we pass this tonight.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee does have an adverse report, so all in favor of the adverse report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstain. And we have one abstention. The ayes have it.
1 second.
Councilman Fusco?
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to request that we file item number 2. This is simply the petition for the one we had just voted on.
Item number 2 will be filed.
In time on the balance.
Time will be granted. Public Service, Councilman Keith.
The committee requests time, please.
Time will be granted. We'll now move into our new legislation. Budget and Finance.
1 second. There we go. Okay, item number 1, offered by Councilman Neal, ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance to pay the cost associated with the city's participation in the Ohio Municipal League and the National League of Cities and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Freeman.
Committee's requesting this item be placed on the consent agenda.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 2, offered by Fusco, ordinance declaring improvements to certain real property located in the Eastgate urban development area to be a public purpose and exempt from real property taxation, declaring the construction and rehabilitation of certain real property in a public purpose and providing collection for service payments in lieu of taxes, and the deposit of the service payments in the Urban Redevelopment Tax Increment Equivalent Fund, providing for the payment of a portion of said service payments to the Akron Public Schools, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco,
Consent agenda.
this item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 3, offered by Keith. Ordinance authorizing the purchasing agent or her designee, after publicly advertising for bids, to enter into a contract or contracts for the replacement of the rear parking lot of the fire station number 13 and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Keith,
Thank you, Madam President. The committee would like this item to be placed on the consent agenda.
this item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Okay, item number 4, offered by Keith. Ordinance ratifying the actions of the Director of Public Service in contracting with S.A. Communal Company Incorporated for the emergency repair of the sprinkler system at the Morley parking deck, authorizing payment therefore and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Keith,
Madam President, the committee would like this item to also be placed on the consent agenda.
this item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 5, offered by Mr. Kamer, ordinance amending ordinance number 446, 2018, authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with WestNet Incorporated for the purchase of fire station alerting hardware, software, and services for the use in all the fire stations, authorizing the expenditure of additional funds and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Kamer,
Thank you. Committee's report is favorable, and we're asking for suspension of the rules.
any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
I have nothing further to say about that.
Okay. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Freeman, Fusco, Hoke, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amobian, Sample, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky. Item number 6, offered by Kamer and Neal. Resolution opposing and objecting to the application of Family Dollar Stores of Ohio Incorporated, doing business as Family Dollar, 5303, 970 Copley Road, Ohio, Akron, Ohio, 44320, for a Class C1 and C2 liquor permit number 263-127-53005, now pending before the Division of Liquor Control and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Kamer,
Thank you. Committee's report is favorable, and we're asking for suspension of the rules.
any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
And I'll see if Councilman Neal wants to say anything on this piece of legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Chair. We had good discussion this afternoon. As it's been stated, Family Dollar has not been a good neighbor to the community. They don't keep up their property. It's always trashy. They don't keep up the inside of the store, and there's been a fence that the neighbors have had to deal with that has been down for about 6, maybe even 9 months. And so with that, I don't think they deserve the right to be able to sell alcohol in the area. Plus, there's a concern in the neighborhood already that there's too many liquor establishments. And so with that, we ask, as was mentioned this afternoon, like for this to be mayor and council as a whole, or definitely council as a whole.
We have a motion for mayor and council as a whole and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Freeman, Fusco, Hoke, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amobian, Sample, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky. Okay, item number 7, offered by Neal. Ordinance authorizes Director of Neighborhood Assistance to enter into a contract with the Akron City School District to provide meal preparation and delivery services as part of the city's annual summer food service program and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Neal?
Madam Chair, committee's request consent agenda, but I would like to just mention, Mr. Valley shared with us this afternoon that his department, Neighborhood Assistance Park and Rec, in conjunction with the school system, feeds some close to 80,000 children over the course, 18 and younger, over the summer. So just want to commend them for the work that they do, and especially since he and his staff saved the city money by cutting the cost on that overall program with that. So with that, we request consent agenda.
Thank you. This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 8, offered by Mayor Horrigan plus Mr. Neal. It's a resolution congratulating Jacob and Jordan Decatur for a remarkable wrestling season for 3 consecutive state titles, with competing for the Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy, commending the wrestlers, their coaches, their staff, administrators, and fans, and wishing Jacob and Jordan well as they embark on a new chapter in their lives at The Ohio State University, and declare an emergency.
Councilman Neal?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I was hoping the mayor would be here. He initiated this resolution. If Jacob and Jordan could stand along with their mother and father. I'm going to ask Mr. Decatur to confirm, are they the first set of twins to win 3 times in a row in the state of Ohio?
The first set of twins to win more than once, so the third time is like they broke the record for the
Okay. So we had them here, man, it was almost 2 years ago when they won the first one, going for the second one. And since that time, they won 2 more. So we know Akron is a city of champions, especially Ward 4.
Where'd that come from?
So we just want to congratulate you. I thank the mayor for bringing this in. I don't know, I know there may be a couple other people that want to say something, but we really do congratulate you, gentlemen. We expect great things. We'll be following you down at Ohio State. I don't know if you want to say anything or before anybody else from council says anything. Well, a copy of the resolution will be framed and given to you after it's signed by the mayor.
Councilman Freeman?
Now, most important, I want to say congratulations, but what I have to know is who can take who between the two of them.
Councilwoman Samples, did you have some comments? Is there anyone else that have any comments? Councilwoman Mobian?
I am just so excited. I'm sure your parents are too. Not only have you succeeded in wrestling, but you are moving on from high school to college, and that is so wonderful. So it tells us that you kept the main thing in addition to wrestling. So congratulations to you.
Any other comments? Okay, all right, that's right, we got to vote. All right, so the committee's report is favorable. We've already had suspension of the rules. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Well, we can definitely go back. For the Decaturs, we can go back. We're going to get it right. So we got a motion on the floor for mayor and council as a whole. Is there a second? All in favor signify by saying aye. The ayes have it. Again, congratulations. You young men have truly made the city of Akron very proud.
Roll call and final passage. Freeman, Fusco, Hope, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amobian, Sample, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky.
All right. We've now come to the portion of our meeting that we refer to as our public comment period. If there's anyone here in the audience that would like to address council, you may come towards the podium now, and we're going to ask that you please give us your name, give us your address, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak to this body. Speakers are reminded that this is an official meeting, so remarks should be kept. You know what? I messed up. Before we go, and I'm sorry, because Councilman Neal, he was looking at me, and I said, why is he looking at me like that? Because we also have another special presentation on tonight, too. We also have some other special guests with us. Councilman Neal, I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to ask, you know, as I've kind of hinted, Ward 4 is a ward of champions. So I'm going to ask Coach Futch and the Bookto Boys basketball team to please stand. I'll ask Coach Futch to please come to the mic. We were working to get the historical information on Bookto's boys basketball team. As you know, they made it to the Final Four ended up losing to the eventual state champion. But if you know anything about basketball, the city of Akron, Akron Public Schools, and I'm going to mess it up because this is why we don't have the actual physical resolution, because the history was phenomenal. The last school to go was 30 years ago, and that was Booker. Coach, set us straight, please.
So I think the last school to make it to a state Final Four from Akron Public Schools was Booker in 97, 98, 20 plus years ago. And then the last team to win a city or state championship from the city was Central Howard back in, I forget, but over 30 years ago.
Well, we're going to get the history straight. But, Coach, if you can just do us honors, please, sir, and introduce some of the coaches and give us a little bio information.
Yeah. So we have with us today Eric Fletcher, who's one of our assistants with the boys basketball team. Edward Smith, another assistant of ours, and also Lavelle Sharp, another assistant of ours. Do a great job of working with our guys, on a daily basis. So we have Martavian Johnson here for us, was instrumental in regards to guarding the ball, playing defense, and just being energetic and passionate for us. Jonathan King, our senior, who's going to be going off to college, and we're trying to figure everything out there. Jonathan has been in our program, done an amazing job, amazing student in the classroom as well. Ronell Tay Perry is here. Show your face there. You got the blonde hair back here. So Tay is, came over and transferred over to us and made a huge impact in our program, as well as Vernon Smith. He actually played the first half of the year and had to sit out the second half due to transfer rules and of such. And then you also have Noah Peoples, another transfer to us, who did an amazing job and kind of was our glue guy this year. And so for that, I'm able to at least have some of our team here tonight. So.
Well, Coach, I just want to let you know that, and these folks down here know I bleed black and white, and we're proud of you. We're proud of the way you made the community feel. We're looking forward to future success on the court and in the classroom, and as you guys represent us, just as you walk through the community, because I know how you hold your team, your men to high standards. So just congratulations, and when we finally get the actual historical data that shows the last team, Akron Public School, to make it to the Final Four was Buchtel, we'll get you the formal documentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you again, and congratulations, Buchtel High School. We'll now move into our public comment period. Those who would like to speak during our public comment period, you may approach the podium. We are going to ask that you keep your remarks respectful and germane to council business. Speakers should refrain from making any personal attacks. Anyone who breaches decorum will be ruled out of order and may be removed from council chambers.
Hi, my name is Shirley. First of all, I want to congratulate you guys on a scholarship to the Ohio State and the Buchtel basketball team. My name is Shirley Hill. I'm with Ward 5. For many, many years, we've been trying to, it's a house that they just tore down. They told me I couldn't show these pictures, but I do want to pass it around. Who's Ward 5? I only took those pictures because after he finally tore the house down on the corner of First Avenue and Arlington across from children's old children's home, he had bought a big pile of bricks, boulders, to fill the hole, and the city told him he couldn't, so it's just there. And from my experience with staying there, he probably won't move them. And another thing is he just left a big ugly mess to next door where we have to look at. We've been trying to, and right behind us is the dump yard that he dumps everything. And not only just him, but people it's a dump yard back there, tires and everything that we've been trying to get cleaned up. I even went back there myself and tried cleaning it up one summer, but to no avail. So I came here tonight to see where I should start at. We've been calling the city and I don't know what to do. First Avenue, I don't know what's going to go on with it because it's just, they tear down and don't build up. I don't know if they're going to buy it out or what's going on, but we still live there. We own our home. The lady down the street owns hers. And there's a lot of homes. What's left is homeowners, except for that apartment building down at the end of First Avenue. So I just want to know, where do we start with getting that big eyesore? And I took a picture from my window, too. I don't know if you guys can see it. That's what we look at. It's a big boulder this high of piles of bricks and everything there. Yeah.
Mrs. Hill, can you please give us your address one more time?
1107 First Avenue.
First
Avenue. I don't know who the last ward person was. I don't know if it was you or not, but they were supposed to come through, take a walk through a couple of years ago. I don't know if they ever did or not. But it's nothing ever done. We didn't talk to the city till I'm just blue in the face.
Well, Mrs. Hill, after the meeting, if you'll stick around, your council person, Councilwoman Samples, she'll be happy to help you after the meeting, okay?
Okay. But that's about all. I think my 3 minutes is up.
Thank you.
I'll get the pictures back after you guys.
My name is Gloria Terry. My address is 218 Carson Drive in Akron, 44312. Madam President and council members, I'm just here to remind you of the National Day of Prayer, which is always the first Thursday of the month of May. Leading up to the National Day of Prayer, we are having a 90-hour prayer, vigil, and Bible reading marathon. It will be on High Street in front of Burning Bush Church, 131 South High Street, and we want to engage the support of the council members and the community. For 90 hours around the clock, we will be reading the Bible, Genesis through Revelation, for 90 hours right in front of Burning Bush. So I just wanted to make you all aware, as Councilman Russell said, we are a city of champions, and to continue to build on the champions we are as the city of Akron, we can do that with the higher power of prayer as we invite God in and engage the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Terry, for sharing. Is there anyone else here in the audience that would like to address council?
My name is Steve Noem, live at 1928 6th Street, Cuyahoga Falls. Here again about retiree insurance benefits. Last Thursday on the front page news in the Beacon Journal, it said, "Gym's sudden closure is no joke." Reported that the I Love Kickboxing gym's abrupt closing was very hurtful, disappointing, sad, and maddening to those who relied on the gym to keep themselves in shape. Apparently financial constraints forced the gym to close, and both the 100 gym members and the staff were financially hurt. As the gym members relied on the gym to keep themselves in shape, the retirees relied on city health coverage to help their spouses remain healthy. Now, when the city announced in fall 2016 that it would begin charging retirees and their spouses for insurance, it didn't reveal initially, until implementing the change, that spouses could only participate if they obtained exorbitantly expensive insurance from OPERS first. And the city cited financial limitations for its abrupt action, but granted a one-year delay in requiring spouses to obtain OPERS coverage. I was thinking, if the gym members were able to get a one-year continuance of their gym use, but then found they'd have to pay 40 times what they were paying in a year to continue their gym use, they wouldn't be happy. But the difference between gym membership, it's an optional choice, and there's other affordable gym choices available. But retiree spouses don't have affordable options, and health insurance is mandatory, not optional. When the arbitrator ruled in the FOP suit last April, he noted three things that are stuck in my mind. He said the city had acted less than honest, the city had acted in bad faith, and had made arbitrary and unilateral changes. I'm sorry to say, coming here for a year and a half, it seems like he hit the nail squarely on the head. So I'm proposing another resolution for you to consider. Whereas confidence in government, both the local, state, and national, has suffered due to misuse of power, dishonesty, lack of integrity of public officials who have put personal goals ahead of public concerns and needs, I propose the following resolution: that the Akron City Council condemns such behavior, commits to ensuring that Akron City government will, from this point forward, consistently act honestly, in good faith, make logical decisions, not capricious or arbitrary, but based on fact, which are in the best interest of all the community. I think with the elections coming up, people need to know that the people they have representing them are people they can rely on. And then the question I asked last week, why do you think that the people of Ireland deserve more attention from council than the city of Akron retirees? I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Nome, for sharing.
I'm looking for an answer, a response.
Decatur's are family, so congratulations again, twins. I'm going to be brief based on our conversation, Madam Chair, but I do have some handouts for members of council. I'm talking about a follow-up of last week. The council heard from the kids from Akron Inner City Soccer.
And before, even though we all know who you are, Pastor, just for the record.
Pastor Greg Harrison, start my time over? Pastor Greg Harrison, 670 Vernon Odom, Akron, Ohio. I'm going to go straight to the ask, and if any members of council want the background of Akron Inner City Soccer and the Akron Soccer Complex, I'll be happy to stay afterwards. The ask is that Akron Inner City Soccer get 3 soccer fields. I have been involved in this for the last 5 years. Mr. Delay is asking for 3 soccer fields. He's asking for 3 soccer fields for those specific age groups. The soccer fields have to be a certain dimension. He's been in contact with Parks and Rec. He was told this afternoon, he was given an option this afternoon and told to take it or leave it. He can't have a take it or leave it because he needs specific dimensions for specific ages. If he doesn't have those dimensions, it would be like telling a basketball team to practice half court only, but play a game full court, or asking someone to practice softball, but to play fast pitch. Akron has 10 fields. Other people are using the fields. Akron Inner City Soccer doesn't have access to those fields. If they can't have access to those fields, then the city of Akron should give them 3 fields where they have access to. And it should never be a take it or leave it. That's the ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Harrison. Anyone else wishing to speak during our public comment period?
Good evening, Council. My name is Harrington Hargrove, 1008 Laurel Avenue, 44307, Ward 3. I'm here before this council like I come regular in reference to economic development and the black community. The GAR report is very important. Council has been wrestling with this, and it's about diversity and equity. Can I just say this? I was here last week and week before last. Council, if not have done it, they're thinking about awarding Bounce a $6 million building. $6 million. But with the GAR report and how our community has been treated, we have received nothing. And sometimes I don't think this council is serious and see how grave it is in our community. Because if you did, you would make it your top priority to do something about it. And you guys bicker among yourself. But it's a reality, whether you face it or not. The African American community in Akron, Ohio, has been denied. I mean, you all know this. So why bicker amongst yourself? Why not produce something? Why can't y'all say, we declare this as an emergency, and we're going to do this? We'll make a favorable report. I've been standing here for a mighty long time wanting y'all to say this, but you won't. Everyone in here has a responsibility to do something for the entire city, every one of you. I mean, so, like I say, there's no name calling. We need this council to step up and do their job in reference to correcting what's wrong. And nobody can say that the black community has been treated fairly in this city when it comes to economic development. Me personally, I've been through the ringer with this body. I've been scheduled meetings, the meetings don't happen. I've been promised things since, for quite a long time. And like I say, I gave y'all a report in reference to my complaint filed against this city, and that was in 2016. And I've been asking the city since then to work and formulate something. And to this day, it has not been. I know you've been talking about it, but no action has been done to implement it. Elevate Akron, I know y'all talking about that, but do something. It is an emergency. Why can't y'all declare an emergency for the African American community? I know my time is running thin, so I'm going to say thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hargrove. Anyone else wishing to speak during our public comment period? Seeing and hearing none, we will close our public comment period and move into our committee assignments. Rules, Councilwoman Keith. Budget and Finance, Councilman Freeman. Planning, Councilman Fusco. Public Service, Councilwoman Keith. Public Utilities, Councilwoman Samples. Public Safety, Councilman Kamer. Parks and Rec, Councilman Neal. Housing, Councilman Kilby. Health and Social Services, Councilwoman Amobian. Economic Development, Councilwoman Sims. Green Committee, Councilman Neal. Is there anything else coming before council? We have a motion to excuse Swirsky. All in favor of that? Aye. Councilwoman Amobian?
I am following up from last week. I understand that the inner city soccer team has been offered lane field. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is lane field a soccer field?
Lane field does have regulation soccer field on the complex, yes.
Does it meet all these specifications? I guess my main question is, why are our children not allowed to use the soccer fields on Copley Road? And I guess that's the question I have. In addition to that, I understand Monday through Wednesday, if it's correct, the fields are not used at all on Copley Road. Is that correct? Can someone answer that?
I don't think we have anybody that can answer it now, but maybe afterwards, Councilwoman Amobian, we can.
I raised the question last week. We should have an answer tonight.
Again, we maybe get you an answer after the meeting.
Yeah. I still want to know why the kids cannot use the soccer fields on Copley Road. I hope we can answer that tonight, please. Thank you.
Councilman Neal, did I see your hand? Did you motion to me?
I'm just hoping we can resolve this. It's been a long time since I've been on council. It's been an issue. I think the main thing is, we have a city asset paid for with city tax dollars, ran by a private group. These children, they go there, they clean the toilets, they clean the park. They're good stewards of the park, but then they can't practice there. There was an article in the public comment section of the Beacon Journal where a gentleman was talking about University of Akron, how University of Akron was a good community steward because they let the community use their track and walk around it. And he talked about how his AAU program was able to be very successful because their children were able to use that track. But since then, the University of Akron has had to close the track because of so much public use. The inside lanes are worn down and they're not good anymore. I don't even know if the team could have any meets there anymore. And the gentleman pleaded to the city and to the university to get the track back together because his athletes, his AAU team, needed the track because so many of them were made available to other options because of their success on the track. And I can't lie, when I read that, I thought about inner city soccer. You know, as Pastor Harrison so eloquently put it, you need the proper tools to be able to work out. I mean, his family, my extended family, the Decatur boys, they came up through Bookville Youth Wrestling Program. But our private school, CVCA, has better facilities, you know, so they ended up going to CVCA to wrestle. We lose children from our community all the time because we don't have adequate facilities. Here we have, I kind of compare the soccer field as having China, and you know, you're a family that's poor, and you say, we have China, so when it comes time to eat, you eating off the ground. But yet, that's kind of ludicrous when you got China. If China is all you have, China is what you use. Because we don't have other soccer fields, adequate soccer fields, I know that we try to save that for tournaments and whatnot, but our children should be able to practice there. It's hard being able to, looking at these parents in the face and trying to tell them they can't practice. So, I know Mr. Valley's been working hard on this, others, but it has to be answered, especially since, you know, we've got a private group running a taxpayer's facility. You know, the students should be able to play there. They're only asking for 3 days a week. There's nine fields there. If they had 3 fields, along with some of the other soccer programs in Akron, they could rotate the fields, and the fields would only get played on once, no more than twice throughout the whole week. I think that grass would be able to handle it because the Snyder Park where they're playing and all the other parks where they're playing is holding up. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Neal. Councilwoman Samples?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know today there was a meeting about gun violence. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there, but I do believe that my colleague, Councilwoman Sims, was there. You know, I had a very alarming experience this weekend while out canvassing with volunteers of mine, and all of this comes back home to this horseshoe for me. We're out canvassing in a neighborhood that I grew up in. A lot of friends I went to school with, their parents, and they all still live in these neighborhoods, and we're on our way headed back down towards Talbot and Whitney, and we hear gunshots ring out. One was an automatic, the other one, I don't really know guns, I just know I don't like them. Sorry, that's just me. And we hear the screeching of tires, and I'm walking with volunteers. Only a few of them were from our neighborhood, the other ones are not, so I know they were scared out of their mind. And we hear the screeching of tires, and we see this car barreling towards us. And we all just froze, didn't even know what to do. This is a neighborhood that I grew up in, and at that very moment, I was even scared. And these are people I've known forever and their kids. We had to cut through backyards of people's houses that I grew up with just to get them out of harm's way because we had no idea what was going on. And one of the girls I went to school with, she saw us out of her back window, and she came out and asked what was going on. And we were telling her, and they thought they heard something, but they weren't really sure, but they're so used to it, it's just like, you know, regular, like hearing birds chirping to them at this point. And that's unfortunate that it's like that now. We waited a few minutes, we sat there and talked to her, and then we started on our way back towards our car. Hindsight, thinking about it, we probably should have waited a little longer. I turned around and looked, there was a car sitting at the corner, and it starts coming down the street, and in my mind, I start thinking about all these movies we watch when we grow up. First thing that jumped in my mind was Ricky on Boys in the Hood, and they're just walking, and here's this car coming. There was nowhere for us to go, nowhere. If these individuals in the car would have opened fire, there was nowhere for us to run to because all those other houses were fenced in. We were stuck. And the person rolled down the window. I, to this day, don't know who that young person was in that car, and he said, "Miss Tara, are you okay? Are you cool?" I said, "Yes." And he says to me, "You don't need to be in this neighborhood." And that hurt my heart because this is the neighborhood I grew up in. And there's this kid telling me I don't need to be in the neighborhood that I grew up in. And we got in the car and we left. You know, and then when I look at the conference on the live stream this morning, and I see the individuals that they've brought together, the community leaders, and I'm not knocking them, and I appreciate them for all their time, their treasures, and their talents to put towards this. But if we are not going to include the individuals who are affected by gun violence in these plans and put them at the table, we are just spinning the wheel. If we do not go into those neighborhoods and talk to those individuals who live in their neighborhood, past or present, we are just spinning the wheels, and nothing is going to change. We can't keep sitting at tables and coming up with ideas, but no one wants to come into that neighborhood to actually see what's going on. And I want to challenge them all to come into the neighborhood and see what's going on instead of us sitting in offices and at tables and talking about what do we need to do to fix it. How can we fix it if you're not coming to a neighborhood to actually see and feel what those residents are feeling like? And the ones who have to get on the floor at night, or I have a 94-year-old on Roscoe who she's so used to hearing gunshots, she's made a pallet on the side of her bed because they shoot so much in the neighborhood. And again, I don't want to knock them and say they're not doing what they're charged to do or feel led to do, but it has to start with them actually coming into a neighborhood and seeing how those residents feel and bringing some of those people to the table. So I wanted to stand and make sure that I, brought that to their attention. I would love to walk in the neighborhood with them. I'm not going to stop walking in the neighborhood I grew up in because I'm not going to allow fear to lead my life. But I have to say, for the very first time in my own neighborhood, I was afraid. And it shouldn't be like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Samples. Anything else coming before council? Before we do adjourn, I just did receive some information that the city of Akron did have a tremendous loss on today. We just found out just a few moments ago with the passing of Mr. Jerry Rowland. Mr. Jerry Rowland has been employed with the city of Akron for 44 years. He has spent many years being the director of Ed Davis Community Center. We already know that he was so much more than just a director. I mean, to many, he was a father there in the community. He was a coach. He was a mentor. And he just impacted so many lives throughout his 44 years here with the city of Akron. So just at this time, we just definitely wanted to keep him and his family just uplifted in prayer. Councilman Fusco?
Just saddened to hear that, and I'd ask for a moment of silence. I was fortunate enough to be like John Valley and work with Jerry for many, many years very closely. And everything you said and more in terms of what he meant to not only the community center but the community overall. So if we could please have a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other council members that have any other comments? I know we do have a motion for adjournment. If there are no objections, we are adjourned.